Hi. So do you know what this is? No, it's not a fist because today it's your brain. And I'm going to show you something that's based on the work of Dr. Daniel Siegel. Now, he is quite a famous neuroscientist who specializes in helping children and parents to understand the brain of children. So this here is something that I'm going to share with you that you can also share with your child at home. And this, yes, it does look like my hand, but today it's not my hand, it's your brain. Now I know that you probably already know that your brain has got a right and left side, and that different sides are responsible for different things, but your brain also has an upstairs and a downstairs. And this part up here, this upstairs part, this is the part that is responsible for making all those wise and good decisions that you make, for rationalizing and thinking things through, like when you're doing a puzzle or when you're doing something that requires concentration. This is the part of your brain that's activated. This is the mummy and daddy part of your brain. Now, if I lift my fingers a little bit here, you can see this underneath. And this part of the brain, the downstairs brain, is the oldest part of your brain. And this part here is responsible for your emotions. So this is the part that lets you feel all that lovely love for the most important people in your life. And it's also the part that makes you feel stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, frustrated sometimes. And all of those feelings, they originate here. We see this thumb? That's what that is. Now, normally your brain is like this, and the mummy and daddy part is able to talk directly to the emotional part, and they're communicating, and even when you're upset, you can help yourself to feel better. But sometimes this happens, and this is the times when we're overwhelmed, and this thinking part of your brain flips its lid and leaves this part in charge. And when this happens, you are so overwhelmed with your feelings that you cannot think about anything else. You cannot help yourself in the way that you would normally can. And you might do silly things or say silly things that you might regret. So what we need to do is recognize that when in ourselves this happens, but more so in our children. And when it happens in our children, we need to recognize that this area needs help. It needs help for the mummy and daddy brain to come back before we can make sense of whatever it is we're thinking and feeling, and before we can control it. So to do that, we need to use calming tools and self-regulation skills. And your child needs simple things like a hug or a weighted blanket, eye contact, and very soft, gentle tones, because that emotional part of the brain understands tone and body language much more than your words. So by showing your child love in those moments and by comforting them, we enable this part of the brain to fold all the way back down and for that brain to start working properly again. So why don't you have a go at explaining this to your own child? Because once they understand how their brain works, it can help them to cycle and process things a lot more quickly. So I hope you enjoyed this, and keep watching for more. Bye for now.